Good morning, everybody. Good morning to all you in our sanctuary, all you in the AV booth, and all of our wonderful Zoomies. Good morning. I want to give a special good morning to our dear Kathy Fallon, who joined us on Zoom today from the hospital. Welcome, Kathy. All right, thank you for joining us today at Unity Spiritual Center in the Rockies. Is there anybody here today for the first time? All right, welcome. If you haven't already, go ahead and fill out a blue slip off the welcome table, and that way you can be part of our electronic newsletter. All right. I'd like to open our time together by sharing our mission statement. Let's recite this together. We are an inclusive spiritual community where we recognize and express our oneness with our Creator and all creation. Now let's join together to sing our opening song, Sanctuary, and let it remind us to be a sanctuary in our own hearts and each other's hearts. Ruby?
Love, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Love, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Last time. Love, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. A sanctuary for you.
Well, good morning, beautiful people. And a Happy New Year. Oh my gosh, it's already the second Sunday of the year, and it's the first time we're coming together for a regular service. Notice that I didn't say normal. I am a fellow of a certain age, and Irma Bombeck tells us that normal is a setting on my dryer. And in my humble personal opinion, one of the biggest insults you can pay me is to tell me I'm normal. So there we are. So good to be with you. So good to come together on this glorious Colorado day. Oh my goodness, isn't this why we live here? Wow, wow, wow. My name is Dr. David Goldberg. It's my great joy to serve as minister of this beloved community. For those that I've had the chance to meet and have a conversation with, thank you. It's so good to connect. For those perhaps we haven't had the time just yet, I know that we'll connect in perfect time. And as we step into our service this morning, just something to think about. Hopefully, many, if not all of you, will be able to stick around after the service today. We're having a continuation of our town hall meeting series. And our conversation today is going to be about this. It's going to be about our Sunday service. We're going to talk about all things Sunday. So what is the music? What is the message? What is the focus? What is the flow? Now, to be clear, the board of directors wanted me to remind you that this really isn't a vote, but rather it's a conversation. It's a focus group, yeah? So I want you to feel heard. I want you to say, you know, this really works. I love this. Or we did this 20 years ago and it's awesome. Or we've been doing this for 50 years and I'm complete with the experience. Let's release that and bring in something new, right? So you are at the core of this community, and our goal is to take all of the information to continue the conversations over the next few weeks. And then on the first week in February, on February 5th, Ruby and I will debut our new order of service. Okay, that everybody has had a chance to participate in and share their thoughts and ideas, and we get to co-create together. Yeah, sound exciting? So we promise to give you like 3 minutes for a cup of coffee and a bathroom break, and then please come back to join us. So if you would please, join me in a moment of grounding as we each acknowledge the higher power of our understanding. So with that breath, I know the one power, the one presence that I choose to call God is in, around, and through everything, the animate and the inanimate. And this power goes by so many names that indeed, perhaps it is nameless. It is beyond our comprehension. Maybe it's Jesus, maybe it's God, maybe it's Buddha, maybe it's Yahweh, maybe it's the divine, maybe it's Mother Nature, maybe it's Dr. Seuss, and maybe it's Toto, right? We accept wisdom wherever it lies. And I love that about this teaching. We are all teachers and we are all learners. So on this day, then, we gather in that space of connection, whether online or through technology, and we simply release the busyness of the morning, allowing ourselves to be fully present, right here and right now. I call it good. I call it divinely appointed and divinely inspired as we move back to basics, as we step into that knowing that we all share, that we are one with the one, that it is simply not possible for us to be apart from or separate. So we release that human error thought. We come together in that space of oneness, in that space of togetherness, in that space of great joy, and something that we do so well, in that space of love. And I say thank you. I say thank you, Spirit. I release, I let go, I allow it to be. God is magnificent, and so it is.
Today as I stand open to the divinity in me, I choose my name. I choose my name. A name chosen by Spirit and then whispered in my heart. From this day I am awakened to the nature God intended with my name. I write my name on a white stone, a stone that means both purity and truth. Inner wisdom and strength, my name expresses God in me. On this white stone, on this white stone, I write my name.
So for those of you who were with us during the holidays, what a joy it is to be able to come together. And on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, we acknowledged Ruby and our beautiful musicians with applause until about halfway through. And then I just invited you to be in that space in your connection with the divine. And now, my friends, we are shifting back with your permission that we will always applaud and we will always recognize our musicians, because that does two things. That thanks them for sharing their gifts, and it helps clear the energy for whoever or whatever is next. So when in doubt, never postpone joy, and you will never be admonished for offering recognition. Somebody got the cue. Well done. You're good. So what I know is the God of my understanding has a sense of humor. So I love to be in that space of laughter with you. I love to be in that place of joy. And sometimes it feels better than others, right? And I always share my family with my families as I work, have the great honor to support people through memorials and celebrations of life. Of course, there are going to be tears, and we're grieving so deeply because we love so deeply. And there are going to be moments, right, when you hear that slightly off-color story, when you hear that song, when you hear something that brings a smile to your face. And, let's do what we can to release the guilt around that. There's nothing wrong with that. The way that we can remember our loved ones and carry forth their legacy is through laughter and through joy and through love. So let us set that intention that is what we do when we come together. We come together in that energy and in that space. And it is with that groundwork then that I want to invite you into our theme for the year. Right? So my right brain thinkers, they're thinking a theme for the year. That's awesome. I may or may not like it, and I may or may not ever say it again. And good for him. He's got an idea. My left brain thinkers are like, a theme. I love a theme. A theme is something I can hang on to, yeah? So we're doing what we can to speak to everybody's brain profiles. So for my right brain thinkers, thank you for being with us in this moment of linear thinking. And for my left brain thinkers, know that you are always welcome and you are a part of this community as well. And I will highlight those points for you, specifically how you are welcome in this community. So we're doing what we can do. So our theme this year, my friends, is living out loud. Yeah? So that is what we are all invited into. That is what we get to step into. Now, again, everybody is on completely different places all along that energetic spectrum. For my introverts, it's okay. Rest assured that you get to be who you are. And we're not going to make you shake hands with strangers. We are going to honor and respect where you are. You see, that's the beauty of this teaching. We were having a great conversation with River today. We were talking about, where do we put the tables and what about the candles? And she said, we get to do whatever we want. I love that. And so do you, my friends. So what I'm sharing with you is don't lose the message through the messenger. Don't start arguing for your own limitations already. I'm an introvert. I don't want to live out loud. I don't like very many things that are loud. I don't like loud. Okay, all of that is good and all of that is true. And what is the invitation for you, you see? Where might you, metaphorically, be able to live out loud? And for my extrovert friends, what does that mean for you? Now, no, we're not talking loud in the sense of volume, right? We're talking loud in the sense of knowing who we are as perfect expressions of the divine. How does that feel? Some of us grew up in traditions that continue to serve so many on the planet. So please hear me. I'm not bad-mouthing anyone or anything. And some of those traditions simply aren't serving us now. So when you move into that space of moving out loud and feeling what that looks like for you, you get to co-create it with your interpretation of the divine. How awesome is that? How awesome is that? So what we are exploring then, and what we know to be true as Unitarians, as metaphysicians, is that the truth is that we are not only of spirit, we are spirit. And that is a journey for a lot of us, right? Because we prayed to God, and I honor that. No prayers are ever wasted, and there's no wrong or bad prayer. Many of us grew up, or not, praying to God. And I don't know about you, but I was a little conflicted sometimes because God and Santa looked a whole lot alike. Right? It's a big guy out there, kind of on a cloud. Sometimes you're connected and sometimes you're not. And he knows if you've been sleeping, and he knows when you're awake. You know, which one of these big guys with a full white beard are we talking about here? So what we know then, and what we're exploring on our spiritual path, is that knowing at our core that God, or however I define my higher power, that God is God is all of me, because it can be no other way, right? If we are created from the divine, from spirit, from divine essence, from extraordinary energy, how could we be anything less than a perfect expression? So that is where I personally struggle with the concept of sin. I know, what I know at the core of my being is that we are all perfect expressions of the divine. And when I sin, the word is actually from archery. So, you know, when I've got my bow and arrow, when I've got my arrow out of my quiver and I fire away, when I sin, I miss the mark. I simply don't hit the center of the target. In my case, I don't even hit the bale of hay, but different conversation, right? So when we sin, the invitation is not to live in that place of unworthiness and loathing and self-admonishment. The invitation is to self-correct and do what I need to do to straighten my aim, to straighten my arrow, whatever, to bring that more into alignment with where I want it to be. So that is what you will hear from me this year, my friends, as we live out loud. I'm happy to be the facilitator of this message, and spoiler alert, you don't need me. You have your own connection to the divine, whatever he or she or it or they may be. And I'm not getting into a pronoun conversation. I'm simply saying, however you feel that higher power is perfect. I'm not here to tell you what to believe. I'm here to encourage you to believe. That is what we know as people of faith. So today then we're exploring that most basic of concepts, of God as a concept. And I'm putting so many words around this, and there are no words. Does that make any sense at all, right? The higher power, the higher presence, God is beyond anything that our human minds can comprehend. And yet, as people of faith, we get to lean into some kind of definition of that. So I offer an affirmation for our work around God as a concept. I am a living embodiment of divine intelligence. Can you repeat that with me? I am a living embodiment of divine intelligence. Maybe one more time with gusto. I am a living embodiment of divine intelligence. Yeah, try that on. Now, my human self says, who am I? I'm not God. I don't want to claim to be God. My old tradition says if I did that, fill in the blank of all these bad things that would happen. And what I invite you to consider, my friends, is that it can be no other way. And when you claim that, when you own that, when you try that on and you get comfortable in that skin, that is where we need and want to be. And it's not from a place of ego. It's not from a place of narcissism saying, I am God. No, it's from a place of, if I believe that the one power, the one presence that I call spirit, that I call God, if this one power is all of me and I am a part of it, when I own that, when I claim that, when I speak that into the space, then I'm putting God first, you see. So that is from a place of honoring. That is from a place of recognition. That's not from a place of human ego. That's not from a place of, I am better than you because I have this belief system. So be with that this week. I am a living embodiment of divine intelligence. So as we speak about that then, the invitation is for us to expand our thinking around that God is all there is. And, sometimes in my humanness, I get caught up in, we lost two dear friends who released their physical bodies in December. And we're connecting with so many of you, and I was completing things in my former community, and we're supporting our family members and our family of choice, and we're in that space of what the what? My spiritual self knows all is well. And my human self is hurting. My human heart is bruised. I know it. And so what does that mean? The invitation for me is that I get to lean more fully into that space. I get to know when I say God has my back and the universe is always conspiring for my good, that's when I get to step into that. That's when I get to reach out to my beloved. That's when I get to reach out to our board members, to our chaplains, and say, I'm hurting right now. Can you pray for me? Can you see the brighter light? Can you see the greater good? Because I'm having a very human moment. Yeah? So I'm trying not to make myself wrong in my humanness, and I'm trying to lean into that faith that we all claim and that we all aspire. That is one of the golden threads that runs through so many of the world's traditions. Certainly Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Hinduism, and I just wanted to share a couple of those with you. The Chinese Tao is defined as the absolute principle underlying the universe, combining within itself the principles of yin and yang and signifying the way or code of behavior that is in harmony with the natural order. So that's the Tao. The Upanishads, the Vedic Sanskrit text of Hindu philosophy, tells us that Brahman is eternal, conscious, irreducible, infinite, omnipresent, and the spiritual core of the universe of finiteness and change. The Quran says, He is Allah, the creator, the inventor, the shaper. He alone has the most beautiful names. Whatever is in the heavens and the earth constantly glorifies him. And he is the Almighty, the All-Wise. So many paths to the one. So many ways to get to whatever that interpretation is of the divine. And I call it all good, and I bless it all. And you've heard me say this before, and you will hear me say it again. There is no bad or wrong religion. There is only misuse of religion when the humanness gets involved. On a more secular yet still highly spiritual level, in my opinion, Ralph Waldo Emerson referred to this as the oversoul. And he talked about it in his essay of the same name when he wrote that within humanity, the soul of the whole, the wise silence, the universal beauty to which every part and particle is equally related, the eternal one. Now that sounds a whole lot like Charles and/or Myrtle to me, right? That we are all a part of the greater one. So just a couple of things to think about as we continue to unpack this then. What we know to be true is that everything returns to first cause. It returns to that which is behind what we see with our human eyes. So one of my dad's best friends, a guy by the name of Steve was an iron worker. Steve built tall buildings and taller buildings and tall bridges and amazing structures. And he went on to serve his profession as part of the International Union based in Washington, D.C. And I love having conversations with Steve about the skyscraper. I said, is it really things and stuff? Is it really the church that we can see, or the skyscraper, or the tallest building in the world in Abu Dhabi in this moment, I think? And is it the civil engineers? Is it the mechanical engineers? Is it the hands of the steel workers and the glazers and the bricklayers? And then what I got to is, as I continued to move back and back and back with all of those elements, it all came from the soil. So along with the animate, the inanimate is also a part of the one. The inanimate is also part of first cause. It was created somewhere, somehow, as a part of the divine. The second thing I want to invite you into, and many of you already know this, and I just want to bring it into your consciousness once again, is that we live in a spiritual universe. We're all spiritual beings having a human experience. Be with that. You've heard that. I want you to know that at the core of your being. You are a spiritual being, and I see you, and I love you, and I honor you, and I bless you. And God loves some of your human expressions are interesting. And I'm right there with you, right? We are marching together on this path. I shared earlier that it's one of my great honors to be able to support people with memorials and celebrations of life. And I'm working with a family who lost their 37-year-old daughter, and we'll be doing Bobby Joe's service on Saturday. And in speaking with her dear mother, I said, how do you define your daughter? She said, my daughter had a zest for life. She traveled to all 50 states. She traveled to Canada. She loved the Bahamas. She loved the beach. She loved people. One of her favorite things to do in the world was to go out for dinner. And then she said, Bobby Joe was born, her words, Bobby Joe was born with severe disabilities. Bobby Joe was never able to stand or walk. Bobby Joe was in diapers since the day she was born. Olden days, we would say she was bedridden. And something wasn't computing here. And she had never tasted solid food. She had been on intravenous food her entire life. And I said, help me understand. She was 20, 30, almost 40 years old. She loved going out to eat, and she never tasted solid food. She said, David, it was about the experience. Something new for me to consider. That this beloved 37-year-old, a spiritual being having a human experience. Now, I would humbly suggest that she could well be much more spiritual than any of us in this room. She didn't need her human body to do that, you see. She knew that she was a spiritual being. She connected people. She loved her family. She loved her caregivers. When people saw her coming in her wheelchair that was reclining, almost like a rolling bed, it brought joy to their faces. It wasn't, oh, that poor girl. It's, oh my gosh, here comes Bobby Joe. What are we in for today? So that is the epitome, my friends, for me, of spiritual beings having a human experience. Sometimes, and in Bobby Joe's case, every moment of her life, her human experience is less than what my human eyes might see as ideal. And she did exactly what was hers to do by way of feeding her soul and progressing on her soul journey. So as you're inclined, if you would keep Ms. Bobby Joe and her family in your prayers next Saturday as we bless her as she moves into her greater yet to be. The third thing that we get to create as spiritual beings having this human experience is we get to be in the experience of false belief. Anybody ever believe in something that turned out not to be true? Come on, don't look pious at me. Yeah. So something has gotten in the way of our understanding of divine truth, and that's our humanness. Now, again, I invite you to be gentle with your humanness. Some of us are such brilliant caretakers, and we know how to show up for everybody else in the world 100%. And I spill a glass of water, and it's like, oh, good, David. Way to go, David. You're uncoordinated, David. And I would never speak that way to any of you. I would never speak that way to anybody else in my life. Why is it okay to speak to myself that way? So maybe that is how you can live out loud. Maybe you can start to change some of your self-talk. If you wouldn't say it to your kids or your grandkids, dang it, don't say it to yourself, right? Because we live with ourselves, and that is the communication that we have most frequently. So your homework this week, beloveds, is to look for whatever your term, God, source, spirit, in aspects of your everyday life. Maybe it's a walk in nature, surrounded by all of this gloriousness. Maybe it's a conversation with a pet. Maybe it's looking at a beautiful plant or some beautiful flowers in your home and recognizing the spiritual essence of everything around you. Just be in that moment of mindfulness and see if that might shift your attention somewhere at some point. I would share a story from the Tao tradition that is it's a new disciple asking his Tao master, Master, how can I be prepared? How can I open my heart for these teachings? And the master says, think of me as a bell. The harder you ring it, the more magnificent the sound. The more your concentration, the more your consciousness, the greater the effect. Master goes on to say, the Tao is like a bell, and faith is the clapper. Strike Tao with faith, and the connection reverberates music of the universe. The more you engage, the more resonant and beautiful the melody of the vibration. If you open yourself up to the Tao will eagerly welcome you. If you open yourself to virtue, virtue will become a part of you. If you open yourself to loss, the lost are glad to see you. So what does that mean in metaphysical speak? What we believe, we receive, right? What we think about, we bring about. What gets our time and our attention shows up in our physical walk. If you do not trust people, people will become untrustworthy. So, my friends, as we engage then, as we step into this new year, as we step into the magnificence and the understanding that we get to co-create our experience with the divine, how can you live more out loud? And again, don't lose the message through the messenger. Define that for yourself. Maybe it's pushing the envelope a little bit. Maybe it's stepping out of your comfort zone. Whatever your verbiage, whatever your words, know that you're blessed and know that we're all on this journey together, that we get to grow and expand and learn together. I call it good. I call it really good. I call it extraordinary. So then, So I'm taking a risk here. Speaking of living your best life, speaking of living out loud, I want to share some news with you and for you that I'm not sure is mine to share, and yet I'm going to do it because Spirit is saying never postpone joy. Would you all please join me, and Zoomies as well, join me in acknowledging and welcoming and blessing Kyla Yamamoto, our administrator, and her beloved Jose were married yesterday. Yeah, so they got engaged around Christmas. They came back. We had a conversation. I said, how can we support you? How can I support you? She said, well, Jose is in the military, so there's some other things we need to consider. And then yesterday I got a text with their marriage license with the paw print of their beloved dog as their witness. So please know that, again, to that point of being a wonderful, beautiful, extraordinary being, and also being a bit introverted, we bless you, Kayla, in your experience. We promise to get offline here shortly so you can continue with your honeymoon. And we want to celebrate with you. We want to co-create something magnificent. So as we move into our white stone ceremony then, my friends, what the connector is here is, what is your word? What is your phrase? What are you calling in as your personal brand, as your slogan in the new year? What does it look like? What does it feel like? So the good news is, again, in reference to my conversation with River, there's no wrong way to do this. I'm going to offer some suggestions. You're welcome to follow it. You're welcome to do whatever you'd like. And I want to share a little bit of context. The idea of the white stone ceremony comes from Revelation 2:17. Let anyone who has an ear to listen to what the Spirit is saying to the churches. To everyone who conquers or overcomes, I will give some hidden manna, and I will give a white stone, and on the white stone is written a new name that no one knows except the one who receives it. So our invitation today is to celebrate and claim your highest, best, and most extraordinary nature. The freedom and independence you want is no more than a stone's throw away. As a matter of fact, your greater good is never more than a stone's throw away. It's closer than the objects which appear in your rearview mirror. It's as close as your next breath. It's as close as your next thought, intention, and choice. It's as close as the stone you are holding. I invite you to take a good look at your stone, because what you are about to discover in this brief ritual can change your life if you have ears to hear. That's what it says in Revelation 2:17. The book of Revelation deals in hidden meanings and symbology. This particular verse has to do with renewal and revitalization. It contains the code for what you can be. It was written by John, the disciple, around 95 in the Common Era on the island of Patmos, where he was in exile. The metaphysical interpretation of 2:17, as we activate our inner wisdom by paying attention to high spiritual teachings and making them practical, right? Treat and move your feet, pray and take action, eat the hidden manna. We tap into the extraordinary us, our innate divine nature, and become aware of our true spiritual divinity, which is the white stone, which transforms our human personality into its higher, more spiritual essence, the true nature of who we are. So please, look again at the stone you're holding. In the time of Jesus, when someone served time in prison, they were given a white stone when they were released. It signified freedom from bondage. It meant a new start. It was evidence they had overcome a limiting condition. Does anybody have a limiting condition they're prepared to release? Yeah. So as we move into this meditation then, it's going to be brief, I promise. Your word that comes to you that you might want to write on your stone, it can be a noun, like peace, happiness, compassion, or joy. Or it can be an adjective, like compassionate, loving, joyful, or forgiving. It might emerge as one of the 12 powers, one of the 7 core abilities of the extraordinary you, or one of the 5 principles. Or it can be a combination of both noun and adjective, like loving kindness, compassionate healer, thoughtful leader, peaceful warrior, perennial metaphysician. Take a good look at the stone you are holding, because what you are about to discover in this brief ritual may change your life. As I've already mentioned, it represents your awareness of your innate divinity. If you're willing to claim your oneness with one reality, the ground of all beingness, please repeat this affirmation. I am the eternal presence expressing goodness as me. I am the eternal presence expressing goodness as me. Yes, you are. I am the eternal presence expressing goodness as me. And so then we enter our ritual. Please allow your eyes to soften or close as you choose, and hold the white stone in the palm of your left hand, and place your right hand over it. Take a slow, deep breath and exhale just as slowly. Remember, a word is the nature of something, and in this case, it means the nature of your spiritual identity. Ask yourself quietly, what is the one word or short phrase that will inspire me, keep me focused, and move me to action this year? What is the one word that will inspire me, keep me focused, and move me to action this year? And now join me and take a slow, deep breath again. And exhale just as slowly. Think of one or two words that describe your highest spiritual essence. Don't force it. Just simply allow this God quality to appear. Bring it up from the core of your being. Listen to the whisper from the still small voice within. Whatever spiritual quality you're hearing, whatever spiritual quality you decide will represent how you intend to express your highest divine essence. You may choose to change it later, so the word that comes to you today can be kept, modified, or changed depending on the guidance you receive from your higher self. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes, wiggle your toes, allowing yourself to be fully and gently present. And now write your word or phrase on your white stone. If you need more time, keep the stone with you and write your word on the stone whenever you know for certain that it is right for you. Reflect on the word that came to you and on the significance of the whole white stone exercise. Take your stone with you and place it in a permanent location so you'll remind yourself of your extraordinary divine nature. And if you choose, repeat after me. At one point, I'll ask you just to share your word. So, I am peaceful. I am powerful. I am, insert your word. I am love. That is what I know to be the truth of you, beloveds. I love you, I honor you, I bless you, I see your spiritual magnificence.
Wow. Thank you, Dr. David. Thank you, Ruby. And now is that sacred time of our offering. Deep, deep thanks to all attending today for your generosity. Know that when you support unity in the Rockies, that you are supporting the greater unity of which we are all a part. As we enter this sacred time of giving, I invite you to hold your offering to your heart and fill it with love and light, knowing that it will come back to you multiplied in abundance. If you picked a stone as you came in, or if you made an online contribution, hold that close to your heart as well. And ushers, would you please come forward? Tiffany and Cindy. And let's affirm together our offering affirmation. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and then all that I receive. We bless this offering with the love and the light that it was given.
I love what Dr. David said about applause. And thank you so much for acknowledging that. And thank you all for participating in that joyful noise. And I just wanted to also add that if you ever feel called to sing along, that's always okay as well. We may sometimes put lyrics up, but not always. And so I just wanted to preface that, especially this morning. If you would like to sing a little bit, please join me. There was a time in my life I thought I'd have to do it for myself. Didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. Didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, just struggling to make it through another day, you've got to let it go, let it all go. And this is what you have to say. I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. Yes, my Spirit runs my life. And my heart is open Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here. I am only here for God.
Wow. Thank you, Ruby. I have several announcements to share today. And as you know, all these announcements can be found on our e-blast. If you're not receiving the e-blast, please let Kayla know. Recipes to nourish the soul. Now, I know that you all bought copies for the holidays, but guess what? We have a whole lot left to sell. So you could buy it for birthday presents. How about when somebody gets married? And for all of those who contributed recipes to this wonderful, wonderful cookbook, know that you are now published, so you get to buy copies for all your family and friends. All right. Bingo. B-I-N-G-O. 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 Bingo is our fundraiser. Would you like to join the fun? The bingo team invites you to join these fun folks who run this great team that brings great funds to our spiritual center. Don Turner is the person to talk to. Flowers. Oh, Don? So anybody who's ever volunteered at bingo, stand up. Look at all of you. Yay! Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Well, that's quite a lot. It's wonderful. So flowers. As you have read in the e-blast, we are now, each of us, invited to bring flowers in on Sunday. There's a sign-up sheet on the bulletin board, or you can contact Kayla to sign up as well. Today, the flowers were brought by Richard and Linda Anthony. Are you here today? Yes. Celebrating their 33rd wedding anniversary. So when you sign up, let us know who or what you are celebrating, and we'll announce it. And we'll enjoy your beautiful, beautiful bouquets. So thank you, Linda and Richard. Speaking of beauty, our spiritual center would not run without all our sacred service folks who help run this show. I'd like to recognize these folks here today and on Zoom who give their love and time and energy to the many service teams, including fellowship, gardening, groundskeeping, flowers, the Sacred Women's Circle, the Sacred Men's Group. I just gave it an adjective. Bingo, ushering, and prayer chaplains, the AV team, and members of the board. On behalf of everyone here at Unity, with grateful hearts, we thank you, we thank you, we thank you. Isn't it fun? Isn't it fun to be of sacred service? Speaking of sacred service, we have a Sacred Women's Circle. Meets every third Saturday of the month. This month we're meeting the fourth Saturday, January 28th at 3 p.m. We're going to be creating vision boards to set up the tone and vision for 2023. It's going to be right here at Unity in the Fellowship Hall. I will be facilitating the event, and I will be bringing poster board and glue sticks, and we'll just have a great time with our vision boards. We will have a town hall meeting right here in the sanctuary to discuss the Unity Spiritual Center in the Rockies, the order of service. So be thinking about, what do you love about the service and what are you ready to release? What music speaks to your heart and what other elements would you like to see included in our new rundown? Nothing is too big or too small. We need and want to hear from everyone as to how we can best support you through our Sunday time together. So we look forward to hearing from you in person and from our attendees joining us live on Zoom. Fellowship after the service in Fellowship Hall. We haven't had that in a while. So coffee, tea, snacks, all of it. Does your last name begin with F, G, H, I, J, or K? Guess what? You are invited to bring goodies to share for our service next week. I'm going to bring honey smoked salmon dip. For more information, go to your eBlast. Okay, that's the end of announcements, and at this time I would like to call our beautiful, sacred prayer chaplain, Linda Anthony, donator of beautiful flowers, for our closing prayer.
Let us take a moment in prayer. As we prepare to close our time together, let us be aware of all of the people throughout the world who are in the midst of war and famine and other problems that are disturbing their peace of mind, their ability to live fully. And remember to hold not only them in prayer, but anyone who is influencing these situations, the leaders of the countries and people who are involved that are able to make changes, that are able to bring about a blessing to these people. And as we are praying for peace and love, we know that we are influencing these situations. And the more peace we can hold in our own hearts, the more peace we can project out into the world. And as we remember our ceremony that we have participated in today, we also remember the beautiful affirmation that David gave us. I am a living embodiment of divine intelligence. And knowing that and being aware of that, we go out into the world as the hands and feet of Holy Spirit doing God's work and sharing God's love with each and every person we come in contact with. So for all of these things, we say, thank you, God. And so it is. Amen.
So if you're in the sanctuary, we invite you to stand for our closing song, and our wonderful AV team will put the lyrics on the screen or in the chat if you're on Zoom. And if you're at home on Zoom, please sing with us as well. Let the light within you shine. We are all connected. Look into another If you'd like to stay on fellowship, you can stay on Zoom. If you're here in person with us and you'd like to join in, you can come up to the platform to join, and we can have coffee and conversation. But remember that the town hall meeting will start at 11:15.